Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And in today's video, I am going to be going over what is OPSEC for red teaming. Never had a chance to go over it yet, been wanting to. So that being said, let's dive right into this video. So, like I said, OPSEC, what is OPSEC in red teaming? So I'm going to go off my notes that I have. Actually, I made these notes a couple years ago when I started the CRTO, and pretty much going on into the red teaming side of things. As you know, for those people that did the CRTO from 0 Point Security, CRTO 1, OPSEC is, I believe, the first or second thing that is discussed or that you read about. So pretty much, what is OPSEC in red teaming? Just a quick one. Operational security is the process of protecting sensitive data and activities from detection, logging, or interference. Why does it matter? It matters because even the greatest technically advanced attacks can be rendered useless if poor OPSEC gives you away early, meaning it was all for nothing. Yeah, that is not good. And just a quick note before I go down, the CRTP goes over OPSEC very, very thoroughly. Nick Hill, the instructor, is very good on that, and some of the stuff he says is actually kind of funny. And also, I think it breaks down the differential of how he talks about it of a CTF and the actual red team pen testing side of things. He does it really well. And I also, like I said, I think he doesn't go on the CTF side, the OPSEC, but what I'm saying is the way he explains OPSEC is that gray area where people have the back and forth on, oh, CTFs aren't real red teaming, pen testing, and vice versa. The way he explains OPSEC, that is the root cause for everyone's problem, in my opinion. So if you guys got a chance to take that training from Altered Security, the CRTP, to get a good grasp on OPSEC, especially in an AD perspective and environment, I would definitely highly recommend that. So next is pre-engagement OPSEC. Avoid, so this is like a kickoff meeting, project meeting, right? We're going over the project engagement, or however you want to term it up, or whatever acronyms you guys use within your organization. So this is pretty much a kickoff meeting for the project, right? Number one is avoid oversharing TTPs and pre-engagement communication. That's gonna give things away. People talk, things leak, and pretty much that could tear up your engagement. So avoid oversharing if need be. Make sure that it's on a need-to-know basis, if that makes sense. Securely store and transmit documents, documentation, encryption, signal, etc. Don't communicate stuff over your work teams chat. Use Signal. Offsite meaning not within your organization. Sometimes they use dual, like Slack or Discord. Have your team, whether it's internal or you're co-opting it with external partners, have it offsite. Do not have it internally, because sometimes you fat finger the wrong team's group message, if you know what I mean. Not that I've done that, but just, yeah, I would definitely do that offsite. And securely store documents outside of using your work. So if you're don't store that stuff in a C2, but keep it in a box, something like that offsite. Next is the C2 planning. You're obviously going to want to select one that is flexible for your OPSEC controls. A lot of people, most of the people are obviously going to use Fortras, Cobalt Strike. There's Brute Ratel, there's Mythic. There's a lot of other ones. Outflank has theirs. That's one of the things that we are going to be utilizing as well. Outflank, I did a video on that. They are part of the Fortra, how do you say it? The Fortra pack of red team tools with Cobalt Strike, Core Impact, and Outflank. So they have their own. Theirs is, from what I hear, is really good. We're in the process of setting that up as well. Use redirectors, CDNs, etc. Choose traffic profiles, DNS, SMB, HTTPS. This is where we had something happen at work where we were hit and it was undetected. As far as the C2, the training for this, I think I talked about it in one of my last videos. White Knight Labs. Pretty much you're using Terraform within AWS and Azure to build out your C2 framework. I think I went over that a little bit in one of my last videos. If not, I'm going to once I get into the training more, like about halfway, I'm going to be making a video about that. But that's currently the route to go, in my opinion, right now. A lot of people that I've spoken with are going that route. It works on Linux, Windows, and Mac. I have a Mac, so I'm doing the Mac portion and also the Linux and Windows, kind of doing it all three. So look into that if you can. I think it's really well. The training's done really well. Next is going to be payload and tooling in OPSEC. Custom tooling. Do not use, you can use them, but avoid using off-the-shelf tools like Mimikatz PowerView. I haven't played with the new Mimikatz update. I know it's not on the free version list or update yet from what I read on LinkedIn. Hopefully that changes soon. However, again, the training from Altered Security goes over that as well. Use what the lay of the land gives you. A lot of people don't do that. They want to, obfuscate the latest and greatest tool or whatever tools they're comfortable with. Use what is out there. There's a lot that is out there, and a lot of this stuff that you're going to, I'm speaking from an Active Directory standpoint, a lot of it is going to be misconfigs, believe it or not. Recompile and obfuscate tools using custom loaders, etc. Obviously, you don't want to get detected. Use maldev techniques, direct syscalls, API hashing, etc. Next, on a sub level, we got AV and EDR evasion. Avoid default signatures. Use in-memory execution. C#, assembly, load, PowerShell reflection. Kill or suspend security processes only when necessarily. Careful, because this could be really, really noisy. Number 3 is going to be network and endpoint OPSEC, initial access. Blend phishing emails with company branding. There's a lot of tools out there that you could use that are, on GitHub. There's a lot of mediums to show you how to do it, a lot of YouTube stuff. So pay attention and get those dialed in. Take your time, make sure they're legit, and also figure out internally or externally for that matter, the people that you're going to be trying to send these phishing emails to. You could possibly pick and point, match some of the things they like, etc. on those emails. I kind of call it the Neil Caffrey method, if you know what I mean. For those that have watched Nightcaller, one of my top 5 shows 6 shows that I only watch, still binge watch it to this day. Host payloads on lookalike domains, but not obviously malicious, like example, payload.exe. Post exploitation, minimize your noise / noisy enumeration. Avoid net.exe, domain-wide LDAP queries, etc. Use stealthy enumeration, sharphound in collection method equals session or groups. Avoid priv-esque tools that write to disk. That's going to give good chance it's going to give you away. Lateral movement is next. Use existing creds and protocols, e.g. WMI, PS remoting, RDP, etc. Tunnel traffic via SOCKS, SSH with Legolo and Chisel. Those are probably the top 2 that are used within your environments, especially for your exams. I am working on that Legolo video. However, it is not the OG Legolo. It is Legolo MG. It is pretty much a C2 server for Legolo. It is amazing. And just a quick note on that. We use Zscaler. Zscaler is not functional on Linux. However, if you use Legolo and you're able to get an agent onto your internal network, you could use your external Kali box to have access and to use your tools, etc. Now, it's not going to, just because you have an agent internally, doesn't mean you're going to have full access. You're only going to have access to that range that agent is for. So, just a quick note on that. That new Logolo is amazing. I'm currently in the process of, recording that right now. Number 4 is data handling OPSEC, loot storage, exfiltrate data in chunks using some encrypted blobs, store collected data in off-site secure vaults, not C2 servers as I talked about before. Make sure everything is secure. Avoiding detection, don't mass exfil large files during work hours. You're going to be sounding everything off, especially if it's something that's not normal. Use cloud APIs, Dropbox, OneDrive, Box, if Blue Team allows it to blend in. I like Box. Box is still the best. They are the most secure. I know because I used to work there. Let's see, where was I at? OPSEC in reporting, number 5, metadata hygiene. Scrub, document metadata, and remove offensive tools, logs, and references. Don't leak internal tools or real names / handles. Internally where I work at, we use our handles. So don't leak that as well. Get rid of it. The delivery, share reports over encrypted channels, e.g., secure portals. Outside, do not use internal networks. That's just how I was taught. And also in some of the trainings, especially at Black Hat and DEF CON as well for people I talk to. So, and also where I've done it at before from people I learned internally. Don't discuss findings over email or Slack if avoidable. Again, internally. Obviously you're going to do it externally for your team, but, make sure that's covered up and secure. Number 6 is real world OPSEC fails. So C2 servers exposed due to poor DNS OPSEC. Detection from using SharpHound with all collection methods. Again, this goes back to, I'm going to give you kind of some examples, right? Using all collection methods, SharpHound on a CTF. However, the biggest one that Nick Hill talked about was, and it's like, I think it's in the first 8 videos of the CRTP. And this is where it went off in my head that there is the difference of a CTF and red team, pen testing, etc. Is, get domain admin. You see admins or whatever high priv users with 0 or very, very minimal logins. And you go for that right away. And obviously domain admin, you're going to get the flag, administrator, desktop, right? CTF, hack the box, etc. Now, if you're to do that in a real world environment, you're going to be fucking lighting those alarms off like Christmas, right? So that's where the breakdown comes from as far as OPSEC, making it different from a CTF to a red team engagement. CTF, great, especially needed to keep the swords still, sharpened still, etc. All those terms, analogies. Great training. You need to do it. However, don't get so tied up to where you lose your OPSEC when you go to actually do the job. Make sure you take a step back, plan out your OPSEC, and don't just go all balls to the wall, because you will screw up your engagement. So with your OPSEC. So that was really key. He has a lot of different examples. And, coming off the CTF stuff now on season 8, you kind of forget about OPSEC. You just go, because CTFs, especially on Hack the Box season, a lot of like I said in my other videos, a lot of these people that are playing these are going for speed, doing their custom scripts, etc. Not worrying about triggering anything because there's nothing there on a CTF. But in the real world, you are going to be making shit, like I said, turn on like Christmas lights like there's no tomorrow. So just be careful on that. Again, another one right here that I've written down from both 0 Point and Altered, upload mimikatz.exe directly to a target server. Rookie mistake. So stuff like that. Again, You're going to use all that stuff, like I said, in a CTF, but you got to take a step back when you get into the actual real world stuff, red team engagements, pen testing, etc. Last one is OPSEC tools and tips. For the tools, invoke, obfuscation, donut shell code loader, shadow silver. Tips, change IOCs per engagement. Always test tooling against lab EDR stack. What we do internally is we have our own VMs. I got my own VM workstation. So do my counterparts. We have put CrowdStrike on our Windows VM and also some of our Linux stuff. We pretty much use our work license and add that on there, that CrowdStrike agent, and that's how we test our stuff. You don't want to test it on your work laptop. Now, if you're testing tools and however you got to do your notifications, like we use CrowdStrike or your CERT, your SOC if it's third party, make sure you have that in sync. I made a dummy mistake again. I forgot. I was just starting to fire off testing. I have access to CrowdStrike where I could go in and do what I need to do to not get it to escalate. I forgot to do that because I'm not blaming the CTS, but I just came in and just started firing shit off. It happens. So, I'm human. I made mistakes. Nothing crazy. Unfortunately, it did have to happen on a Friday, late Friday, like around 4:30, 5 o'clock. But it happens. So, just make sure you got that stuff in play. That's pretty much how we do it where I'm at. There's other million ways to skin a cat. So, that's it for the video. That's pretty much just a basic rundown. This is not the end all be all. This is just basic overview, oversight of OPSEC and red teaming. Again, biggest key thing is to pay attention to detail. Slow is fast. And again, paying attention to the detail. The devil is in the details in your OPSEC planning, pre-engagement planning, during the engagement, and whatever else you got going on. If you got to pivot to a different piece of an add-on to the engagement project, etc. So again, I can't harp on that enough. Devil is in the details. So that's the video, guys. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.